So, The Fault in Our Stars is a 2012 romantic comedy written by a dictionary, which is pretty impressive. I didn't know they could write books, but I guess, you know, all the words are already in there. You just gotta transfer them in a different order. It stars Hazel Grace Lancaster and Augustus Gus Waters, and they are two cancer teens who fall in love, get horny in the Anne Frank house, and then get sad because one of them is dying. Honestly, that could just be my whole review, because I think you know how I feel about it based off just that. So, one of my things in this book was Hazel's mom was very adamant about her getting a cancer friend. Not really because, they'll understand what you're going through and you guys can, talk to each other about that because she's already in support group. No, it was get a cancer friend because your real life friend doesn't count. She has a friend from high school and Hazel's now in college, which, I don't know, could a 16-year-old I bet there are 16-year-old cancer patients who are in college, maybe even graduated, I don't know. But it just would, I don't know. Of course she is. You know, that's what it kind of feels like, because she talks like a dictionary. John Green did not have to go, oh, look, a dictionary. No, that word's too simple. Oh, there we go. Just to, make his character sound smart. Because they don't sound smart, they sound annoying. You know? But so her mom was really, pushing on that. Get a cancer friend. Which is kind of interesting, because then she gets the cancer friend, Augustus. And I'm kind of going to go out of order here, I'm realizing now. But so she gets Augustus. They fall in love. And then when he starts to die, her mom is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I realize you made a cancer friend. You banged him after getting horny in the Anne Frank house. That's fine. But now that he's dying, I want you to hang out with me, your mother, because you've spent a lot of time with him, even though in, under a month you're never gonna see him again because he's gonna be dead. I want you to spend all your free time with me and your dad. You can't encourage, I get it, it probably made them realize, oh, our daughter might not be around forever, but they were leave the house. Holy shit, you need to get out of the house, Hazel. We just are sick of ya. Please, you need friends your own age. We're your parents. We can't just watch reality TV with you all the time. Go find a friend. Go find a fucking friend. And then she finds a friend who starts to die, and her mom is like, Hazel, what about your parents? You haven't spent time with us. Hang out with us, please. We're bored because we don't do anything else. And it's you can't, it just felt like such a flip. Her mom didn't even mention, look, I understand he's dying, but, it's hard on us too, so we just want to have you for a night. No, instead they get mad at her, and she's like, well, he's gonna die, so, and then her parents just kind of never apologize for it. And I just found it weird that her mom was so into, get a cancer friend girl. But, don't grow emotionally attached like friends do. So that was interesting. That part pisses me off. Because I can see it from both sides. The parents are oh God, we're gonna lose her one day. We should spend more time with her because we're now seeing it in this boy. His parents are never gonna see him again. But at the same time, you pushed your daughter to go make a friend who could possibly die. You don't have the right to then be stop seeing them. We get that they're dying, but we're more important because we're here forever and he's not. That, it just came off as stupid. Her parents cared about her throughout the whole book. They were understanding as they could. I don't really remember because I didn't care. But her parents were they were good guys. But then, Gus is dying, and to create cheap drama, it was oh, stop hanging out with him now. I'm your mom. Bleh. So, it just didn't feel natural, is what I'm trying to say. But also, what in this book felt natural? They got horny in the Anne Frank house. Okay, so regarding So I ranted already. Like, we already can just feel the vibes of this review, okay? So, what is her name? Hazel. Sorry, I'm reading The Hunger Games, and I just watched the Divergent movies, and those were all kind of, like, the same year thing. Like, I'm pretty sure I read these all around the same time, so it's all just, like, mixing in my head. I'm trying to keep it straight, but it's not coming out straight. I have filmed this a couple times, and I keep calling Hazel Katniss, so if that happens, I might just roll with it, and we'll just see who notices. If you notice, you win a prize. What is the prize? My love and affection, let's say. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. You win a pat on the back, so just... Anyways, wow, I can see why my reviews come up to like 2 hours sometimes. The romance. I have not read a lot of romance. I'm starting to read more because I have just accepted my life as a cheesy romantic. It's really liberating, just realizing, wow, give me the cheese. But I'm still very picky when it comes to romance, and I just didn't really see the romance in this, which, like, it was the romance of 2012 / whatever year I read it. I think 2014? Was it still really in hardcover? I don't remember. I just remember there was, like, no paperbacks until after I bought it and was like, oh, of course. Anyways, what am I trying to say? The romance. So they meet at support group, which Hazel has been forced to go to by her mother. She doesn't want to because teenage angst, but, like, cancer edition. So Augustus is just kind of like across the room looking her up. He's like, oh. And she's like, oh, but with like short hair. And he's like, And she's like, And then she's all, you know, when a hot guy stares at you, it's okay. But if an ugly guy does it, it's basically a form of assault. So, like, this is okay because he's hot. And that's just a really weird thing to say. First off. Second off. No, it's just a weird thing to say. And then, so they're going around support group. Gus is there for this guy, Isaac, whose name is Isaac, and he loses his eyes, and it's supposed to be funny, I bet. I don't know. I've been reading a lot of reviews for The Fault in Our Stars, and no one's really pointed that out. I really hope people have somewhere, but, like, Isaac has no eyes. Anyways, so Gus is there. He's, like, sorry, in remission, lost part of his leg for cancer, and he's on a roller coaster that only goes up, my friend, because he can't just say anything normally. Roller coasters that just go up still kill you because at one point you're going to be in outer space and you're not going to be able to breathe, but, you know, maybe that's a good metaphor, though, because his life gets better and then he dies. You know what? Never mind. I'll give John Green that one. He gets a point. And then I think Gus is all like, I fear oblivion, and Hazel is all like, ugh. Oblivion is ineditable. I can't say that word. And then they just kind of like flirt through, excuse me, no, here's my view on life as opposed to your view on life. And then after he's like, hey, you're beautiful. Want to come to my house to watch a movie? Look at this cigarette. And Hazel's like, really? That's your Harsha? I'm saying that word wrong. I don't remember what word it was. I know it starts with an H, I think. Where is it? Yeah. I don't know how to say it, but it's Harsha. I can't, I saw it I saw the clip, and I can't remember. Anyways. It's not there. He's like, no, you see, I put, like, the cigarettes in my house. Okay. All those cigarettes. And they have no power to kill me. And then her panties drop. And she's like, okay, I'll see a movie with you in your house, even though I just met you. And, like, if you were ugly, you saying all of this to me would be, like, assault. let's do it. And then her mom drives up and she's like, hey mom, I'm going to his house. And her mom's like, fucking finally, bitch. It's about time you found a friend. So they go to his house and like watch a movie. His parents have all of these happy signs like after the rain comes a rainbow and probably like live, laugh, love, you know? And so they kind of like the relationship does kind of build slowly, and I did like that part. Over time they spend a lot of like their nights talking on the phone to each other, and they just kind of, there was this really good part, I'm not gonna flip and find it because that will just waste time, where Hazel was kind of talking like, oh, in this phone space we kind of exist in this in-between where it's just us, and I really like that because wow, relatable, love that for me. But then it just ruins it because they say so many big words. And like I think it's because I didn't really connect to the characters and I didn't really like them that much. Sorry. That I just couldn't really believe the romance. Like I could see it if it was less of a, oh, we're like in love, and more of a, oh, we both accept that one day we're gonna die, so why don't we just be happy now? Maybe that's what it was, and I just don't remember. Because it has been a while since I read this book, because I just don't film reviews on time, so I forget things. But I think, like, it could have been stronger if they just weren't so, like, here's our big words. Because when Gus tells Hazel he loves her, he's like, I know that oblivion is inevitable, and this is all just a shout into the void. And if you've seen my Like Magic videos, which, like, you should go watch, there will be a link in the description. There's one, Chapter 12, The Carnival and the Compliment, where the guy Ace compliments the girl, Rosalind Jasmine Sapphire. And it's, like, 2.5 pages long. It's the most ridiculous thing. Gus could never. Okay? It, like, we were writing it as a parody. That's the thing. It was written to be a parody of scenes like this. And it really, like, they could be, like, put side by side. Sure, this, like Magic one is longer. They could be put side by side and compared. And, like, you might not be able to tell which one's the parody. Okay, you would. Because, like, Magic's weird. But, you know what I'm trying to say, I hope. You know, it was just too weird for, like, I don't know, he's supposed to be, like, 16 or 17. Cancer doesn't, I saw some reviews saying this, cancer doesn't make people smarter. It doesn't make them know a lot of words. And so, I don't know, it just felt like John Green was trying to make it this big moment where it's like, oh my god, he really loves her. Because look at all those words he used. But Gus had an ex-girlfriend who looked like Hazel, and that's why he was into her. So it just kind of, once we learn that, it just feels to me like that's why he's into her, is because, like, oh, you just remind me of my ex, and, like, you know, she died and she was kind of a bitch because her brain tumor made her a bitch. But you're nice. And you know a lot of big words, which who knows if she knew them, because we don't really learn. But, like, you know, so you're kind of like my second chance at having a nicer ex-girlfriend who's not dead. And then he is the one that dies. And it's just kind of like maybe now Hazel's gonna date someone else and then she'll die, and then it's just like a pattern. Anyways. It was sad. Like, I think it would have been more dramatic if... Ooh, I need to bookmark this page that I just randomly flipped to. More dramatic if, like, they were developing feelings for each other slower than they did. And then when Hazel finally realizes, oh yes, I do really love Gus, he died, that could have been way more effective and sad. So I was editing and I realized I missed part of what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to quickly squeeze it in here. So that's why it might seem a bit awkward that it's added. But part of Hazel's thing was she didn't want to date Gus because she was dying, and she's a grenade and she's going to detonate and, like, blow up and just ruin everything around her with her cancer. Like, she's a ticking time bomb. So it was interesting to kind of see her develop from, like, that mindset to the mindset of, okay, maybe I can take a chance and love him. But I do wish that it was a bit more of a slow burn. And I wish that it had kind of ended with her being like, yes, I love him, but now I'm for sure losing him because, like, I don't know, I like the dramatic idea of that. Like, if you're gonna try and hit us where it hurts, hit her where it hurts a lot more too. Like, she finally realizes, oh my god, I'm in love with this boy, and here I am at his pre-funeral. Like, that could have been good. Then we would have also not had them making out in the Anne Frank house. And I can't believe that I'm just quickly snipping it, like, coming in to add this, and I brought up the Anne Frank house thing again, which I think I'm about to talk about in the actual video. So, there we go. But that's not what I really want to talk about with their romance. What I want to talk about is the scene where Gus is like, hey, I'm taking you to Amsterdam to meet your favorite author of your favorite book, a book that sounds a lot better than The Fault in Our Stars, and I kind of wish that we had that book instead, but it's fine. We're gonna meet him. So they go to Amsterdam. They don't walk, but I don't know how to mimic an airplane. They walk to Amsterdam, and then there's a car just pulled up and someone's looking at me doing this. Alright, I don't know why I keep doing it. Anyways, so they get to Amsterdam, they meet the author. He's an asshole. God, this guy is an asshole. And he's like, so you're gonna die. Why do you care about book characters? Blah, blah. I'm a drunk. Look at me drink. And I don't know, that scene is kind of forgettable, but I think Hazel, like, calls him a douche nozzle or something. Maybe that's my word, but I hope it was, like, a douche nozzle, because that would have been funny. And then his assistant is like, where is it? Come on, I wanna... His brain is Swiss cheese. Who says that? Oh, Augustus says that about him, and I love that. I don't remember... Oh, douche pants. So douche nozzle is close enough. I prefer douche nozzle. Anyway, so then the assistant for the author is like, let's go to the Anne Frank house. We're not gonna go with that asshole. I just quit. So let's go to the Anne Frank house. And then the kids are like, okay. So they go to the Anne Frank house. And it's supposed to be this really inspiring thing. Because Hazel is sick and dying. And Anne Frank got sick and died because of the Nazis. And Hazel's, like, climbing those stairs, and it's hard for her to climb the stairs because she has lung cancer. I don't think I've mentioned that once. Cancer is in her lungs, so she can't breathe. And she makes it to the top of the Anne Frank house, and she's, like, breathing heavily, and Gus is, like, standing over her, and people are kind of watching, like, all that sad that, you know, she has the breathing tubes. She's probably dying, and we're sad because Anne Frank died. And then Hazel is like, I feel like I owe being here to Anne Frank, like, climbing these stairs, I have to do it in honor of her, which is nice, you know, kind of thinking that. She has this cool part where she's looking at a list of people who, like, died in the Holocaust, and she's like, oh, there are, like, 4 people named Aaron Frank. They don't have museums, they don't have, like, their history isn't known, so maybe if, like, I can know these 4 Aaron Franks, and other people know these 4 people who died, like, there will be enough people to just remember the dead, because she's dying, so she wants, and, like, I think Gus is all about being remembered in a big dramatic way, and then, like, that was cool. I like that, because I've been to the Anne Frank house. When I was in there, it was on a school trip. I don't think this was someone from my school. I really hope it wasn't, because there was, like, a lot of students there. But we were, like, walking, and someone went, this isn't, like, in The Fault in Our Stars. Like, they didn't film in the actual Anne Frank house, you idiot. That, like, you know, first off, it's a historical site with very thin stairwells. You can't get filming equipment up those stairs in, like, the masses you would need for a movie. Second off, do you know how disrespectful that would be? But anyways, moving on. Well, the other thing is, like, to kind of add to Hazel's thing of, like, how, like, there's not just nobody's remembering everybody, it's only, like, the people who kind of make big, which isn't a bad thing, but there was this guy in my school group who was like, I don't know why Anne Frank's, like, the most favorite Holocaust victim, because there were others. And you know what? One, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Two, he never looked up other people. He never found other people's stories and told them. So it's just, it was weird and hypocritical, but, like, you know, you can't be upset that only one person is being remembered the most and then not do anything about it. So that's kind of on that scene. Like, it's a good point. We should start remembering not just people from the past, but people now. Anyways, I'm rambling. So she's like, it's sad because, like, Gus is like, oh, it's sad because Anne died 3 weeks from liberation, so she could have been free if she wasn't sick. And then they talk about, like, more stuff about, like, people dying and, like, memories. And then she looks at him and she's like, God, I'm thinking you can't kiss anyone in the Anne Frank house. And it's like, you probably shouldn't, you know? I don't think they've kissed. I think this is their first kiss. So, what? Anyways, then she's like, you know, Otto Frank, Anne Frank's dad's voice is in a loop in the background. And he's like, talking about, I'm very surprised about the deep thoughts Anne had, talking about her diary, and then Hazel is just like, you know what? I can't handle it anymore. I need to kiss this boy. So she kisses Augustus. And then people, like, it's not even like a peck. It's like his lips parted, which means there's tongue. They're Frenching in the Anne Frank house. And you know what people fucking do? They applaud. They're like, yay, these dying teenagers are admitting that we're all horny here in the Anne Frank house while thinking about death. Yep. It's totally what's happening. We're all just really, like, we're happy someone else is thinking it, and we're happy that they're showing it. Because it didn't come across as, oh, people are happy for these cancer kids because they don't know what's wrong with them. Like, I don't know, if I saw two people making out in the Anne Frank house, I would have been like, excuse me, I don't care if you have cancer or not, that's weird, you should stop. But then, like, look, the kiss lasts forever, as Otto Frank kept talking from behind me. What? Why is this scene in a book? Oh my god. Like, we all just let this happen, okay? The people who read this book in, like, 2012 to 2014 that loved it just let this scene happen. And I can't believe, like, this many people let it happen. And then it was still in the movie because it's such an iconic scene. Why is it such an iconic scene? It should be like a PSA about disrespect. And then it's like, she's looking around like these teenagers with their hormones making out beneath the video broadcasting the shattered voice of a former father because she's worried everyone's gonna judge her. And then they all just, like, clap. It's like, and then they started clapping. All the people, all these adults just started clapping, and one shouted bravo in a European accent. Augustus, smiling, bowed. Laughing, I curtsied ever so slightly, which was met with another round of applause. No! You're getting fucking kicked out of the Anne Frank house. They're putting your faces up in the gift shop going, don't let these people in here. And then, like, then they go see Anne Frank's diary, which I've seen. It's pretty cool. You're not allowed to take pictures because, like, the flashes and stuff could ruin the pages, but someone took a picture and I was like, ma'am, there's a bunch of different languages telling you not to take photos. There's a picture of a camera with an X, but okay. And then it's like the quote that the book happened to be turned to, a page of Shakespeare quotations. Oh, wait, what? Oh, unpublished book of quotations. Okay, so they're not looking at her diary at this point, and it's like, for who so firm that cannot be seduced, she'd written, because we need to relate to the fact that they got horny in the Anne Frank house. And you can't just say they didn't get horny in the Anne Frank house, because they go back to the hotel and bang. Of course, and you know where they were before that? The Anne Frank house, where they kissed, which is the beginning of the horniness. Augustus reveals, hey, my cancer is back. And she's like, okay, I thought I was the one who was gonna die on you, but this changes things. And he says, I lit up like a Christmas tree. It's everywhere. And then, the world is not a wish-granting factory, which is kind of like a good quote. There are some good quotes in here. There are some quotes that you thought were good when you were 12, but now that you're like 20, 21, you're like, whoa, what? And so then he starts getting really sick once they get home. And that's kind of when the mom is like, stop hanging out with your boyfriend, please, because he's dying. Hang out with your mom, because I'm alive. And then I don't really remember what happens. Like, I know at one point they egg Isaac's ex-girlfriend's house, and I just flipped to that page. Hazel, like, takes a picture of Gus and Isaac, and she's like, that was the last picture I ever took of him, and it gets sad. Like, it is sad, because, like, a child is dying. Well, like a teen, but still. And then, so it's just kind of like Hazel's life with Gus now. One day he leaves his house to try and go get some more cigarettes, because he can't find his, because he needs that metaphor a lot. And then something gets infected, like some tube, G-tube, I think. I don't know. I'm not at that part. But then he is like, don't call the ambulance, even though I'm almost dying in this car. And Hazel's like, Gus, I need to call the ambulance. So she calls the ambulance. And then he just kind of keeps going down. And then he has a pre-funeral, so he can witness his funeral. And that's where Hazel's mom is like, bitch, get inside the house. I want to spend time with my daughter. And Hazel's like, Mom, he wants me to write a eulogy because he's fucking dying. And then that's when the mom kind of backs off for a bit. And then, you know, at the pre-funeral, she just speaks a lot. Where is it? I'm at the right part. I just need to find it. Some infinities are bigger than other infinities, and I want more numbers than I'm likely to get, but God, I want more numbers for Augustus Waters than he got. But Gus, my love, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for our little infinity. I wouldn't trade it for the world. You gave me forever within a number of days, and I am grateful. Which is a cool quote. I like that. It just, I don't know, I still didn't really feel the romance this time around, so it wasn't like that big, but you know, friendship, you can love your friends. And then he dies 8 days later. And then there's all this sad parts where she's like in pain, rightfully so, which was pretty good. Like, I felt her pain. And then the funeral happens, like the actual funeral. And like, you know, the priest is like, oh my God, our boy Gus in heaven, live, laugh, love. And then the fucking author from Amsterdam is there. I don't know why. I don't remember why. How did he get there? And then, you know, the priest is like, let's pray. And the author is like, we gotta fake pray now, kid. And Hazel is just sitting there like, excuse me? So that's kind of, I guess, the end of the romance, since Gus is now dead. But Gus, because her favorite book ends in the middle of a sentence, and they were trying to learn how the book ends from the author. So that's what I'll get into next, I guess, because that can be its own section, since the romance is done, kind of, because Gus is dead. So the author ends the book in the middle of the sentence, because the character, she has cancer as well, either gets too sick or dies and can't continue writing the story, which that would be a ballsy move, and I kind of want to read a book like that, because hell yeah, Uncertain endings, great for discussion. Unless you're my high school English class, then you get pissed off at the end of the Lord of the Flies because, well, that's not a good ending. Like, that it is, because it creates discussion. Anyways, rants aside, so that's why they go to Amsterdam to meet him, is to try and figure out what happens to some of the characters. And then, like, since he's an asshole, they don't really learn anything, and then they just stop caring, I guess. Or they just accept they'll never know. And then the author is at the funeral because Gus wrote an epilogue for the book, which was not really an epilogue for the book. It was just like, I love Hazel, and I'm gonna die. Is this good? And the author was like, okay, sure, I guess. And then that's kind of where, like, that's why he comes back. But it's just weird because he's like, in the movie, he just kind of like pops into her car. And what is it? Doesn't he come back twice? Oh, she's with her friend and she's like, Van Houten, which is the author's name, and her friend is like, was that a cough? Like, girl, are you stupid? I get you're not in college, but come on. So the author is like, oh, he wrote something, and I don't know. I don't really remember this part because I wanted the book to be over, so I just kind of skimmed it, but basically Gus wrote these letters for her that he sent to the author, and then the author's assistant breaks into his house, like, probably cleans up his alcohol, and then finds them, sends them to Hazel, and it's just like a love letter for her, and she has this. And he's like, I hope she's okay with my decision, because I'm okay with her decision, because I'm okay with mine. And she's like, okay. Because they say okay to each other. Which wasn't really, I don't know, it was kind of romantic, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, not much to say about the author. It just kind of felt unnecessary. I guess it got them to Amsterdam. But that's kind of it, really. I don't know why he came back in the end. That just felt cheesy, you know? Anyways. Oh, a fun part about this book is Hazel and Augustus are like, oh, we hate pretentious people, while being the most pretentious people I have ever read about. So I don't really have much else to say about this book. I've been struggling how to put my thoughts that are constellations on the video, I guess, not the page. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't really hold up. When I was, like, I don't know, 13, 14 and read it, this book was great. Probably because it was, like, the first real romance I ever read, I guess. But now that I'm older and more judgmental, I have standards now. Now that I have standards, it just wasn't as great. This book is part of my traveling book series, as I like to call them. I post about it on my Instagram, you can find it in the link below, where I go around my city or wherever I am with the book at the time to book boxes, and I leave them there in the hopes that someone else will find it, annotate it, and pass it along. So it'd be cool, I don't know, if one day someone who found it watches this review, because I did put my YouTube name in there. I also annotated the book. I don't know if I said that, but that's how I can easily find things. I think annotating really does help me with reviews, so that's cool. If you happen to be the one who found my copy of The Fault in Our Stars, that's cool. You'll recognize it not just because of the annotations, but because this is taped to the front, because I couldn't find the cover, and I thought I would be showing the book a lot more in this review, but I prefer this because it's from, like, a sticky note, and it said get lost in the right direction, but I crossed it out and wrote get lost in the metaphor, which is how this video got its title. And, like, this alone makes me not want to get rid of the book, but I've already written in it that I'm doing it, so yeah. Some other books that I've done have been Fangirl and a book called I Heart You, You Haunt Me. And I think those are the only two I've done so far. But after this one, you'll be seeing another few reviews like this. where the book is then traveling, and I don't think any of you actually care, so I'm going to stop rambling now. Okay, so I think that does it for this video. I don't really have much else to say. That's why I didn't film this review right away. I thought sitting on the book would give me more to say, but not really. I haven't done an actual, like, review in a while, so I'm kind of getting back into it. The last one I did was, like, my after review over a year ago, so there's that. Before you asked, yes, the other after reviews are coming. I have one of the books right here. You can't see it because it is holding up my phone. The other one is somewhere over there. I have to redo my bookshelf. It looks bad. But they're coming. I just don't know when because they're so hard to read and I'm running out of sticky notes of things that I want to complain about. So it will come when it comes. In the meantime, I did post a series with my good friend Will. The link is in my description, and that little eye icon, I don't know what side it will be on, to find it. It's called Reverse Engineering Wattpad. It's a parody of Wattpad books, kind of, that we wrote together. I mentioned it earlier, and it would mean a lot if you checked it out, because we worked on that for over a year before putting it out there, and it was fun. We want to share laughter with people. I laughed so hard, I cried while reading a certain compliment that I also now realize I mentioned earlier. But you'll see why the reaction I had from that was so big while reading it if you go watch the videos. It's also just a nice way to support someone's writing for free, which, a lot of people like doing, is supporting people's writing. It was a fun project, but I do have more reviews done. I'm pre-filming a lot, so I can actually post regularly, and there's not like a year to 6 months gap in between everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I get better at reviewing. So yeah, have a nice day. Wear a mask, please. Just wear masks and wash your hands. You can breathe with them on. Psychology is telling you you can't. You can. If I can, you can. Hazel Grace would want you to wear a mask. If she wore a mask, she wouldn't have made out in the Anne Frank house. So if you wear a mask, you won't do the same.